The Star Build Strike has a samurai showdown with the Sengoku Astray, in my review of Gundam Build Fighters, Episode 19. In this week's episode of GBF, the Gundam anime franchise may have finally just envisioned and realized its giant robotic samurai roots. And I only say that because the two titular Gundams fighting this week were fighting in this great battlefield, which was a Japanese castle with a red background and a giant moon. And if you've ever seen like samurai anime or samurai movies, then this will look immediately familiar to you. And at the same time, this battle is wholly unique. I cannot compare it to any scene or mobile suit battle in the entire Gundam anime franchise. And considering that bastard's well over 30 years old, that's pretty damn surprising. And this episode was great. There was a lot of build up to it in the first half of the episode. Hell, there was build up to this episode the minute they showed the very first intro for this series. The character of Nils Nielsen, the American samurai boy, has a pretty cool story, and I like how in the first half of the episode, it sort of gives you that feel of like the political side of Gundam that you've seen in sort of the classic series. And this is really the part of the episode that is just the build up to the battle, where you get to learn that still he's trying to learn the secret of the Plasky particles. And this is also probably going to tie into Reiji and why he exists in the first place, and why he's some sort of strange intergalactic space prince from some place called Arian. But they're not really going to get into that much. Let's go ahead and talk about this awesome battle. The Sengoku Astray going up against the Star Build Strike is great because the Sengoku Astray doesn't use like any beam weapons or any projectile weapons. It just goes with its swords and it kicks ass. And at the beginning of the episode, they show a little bit more about why its swords are so powerful. Apparently, he puts these like anti-particle like coating on the swords, and he's able to cut through beams and like shields and weaponry. And he actually takes out the Virtue Gundam from Gundam 00. That's a model that I actually have, so I thought that was really awesome. Almost immediately into the battle, the Sengoku Astray actually destroys all of the Star Build Strike's projectile weapons, and this is where it evolves into this big bare-knuckle battle. And the scene here is awesome. It's very stylish, and like I said, I can't compare it to any other Gundam battle before. I especially like the fact that Niels is taking advantage of the fact that he is completely samurai-themed by cutting up this castle, picking up parts of it, and using his sword to throw chunks of this castle at the Star Build Strike. It's very, very awesome, and one of the coolest scenes of this entire series and the entire Gundam anime franchise. But it soon evolves where both characters are using like their big signature techniques, where Nils is using his anti-particle techniques, and then you have the Star Build Strike going up into its super form, trying to use its knuckle punches. But they're not working at first because Nils is using his ability to sort of negate the particles and blow their arms to pieces. But still, he ends up losing some of his arms as well, and then suddenly, in the battle randomly, the system crashes, and this gives our players a chance to sort of rebuild their Gundams really, really quickly. And what I love about this scene is it kind of reminds me of like a pit stop in a race, with Sei having to rebuild the Gundam as quick as he can by reattaching the arms. But he's also really, really smart here because he also attaches this super glue all over the brand new arm so that this time when it actually punches, its arm is not going to explode. And this is actually how they're able to defeat Nils in this battle, by basically dodging all of his techniques and giving him one of the coolest uppercuts, blasting right through his shield, smacking him in the face and causing his Gundam to erupt in a blaze of awesomeness. This was a great episode, and aside from the action, there were still a lot of other really things that made this one good. I didn't really get into the whole like bit at the beginning where PPSE wanted Nils to join them, and they wanted him to join them so that they could sponsor him, and he just wants to take advantage of them so that he can learn a little bit more about the Plasky particles. But this is also where they start to hint that there's a huge secret to these Plasky particles that they don't want people to know about, how they generate them, and I guarantee this is going to be tied into Reiji and wherever the hell he is from. But if you also wanted a little bit of comedy this week, it's sprinkled all throughout this episode. Believe it or not, Caroline actually returns from the filler-verse of Gundam Build Fighters. I guess she's not a filler character after all. She's actually pretty funny, and she's pretty obsessed with Nils as well. She actually wants to be his girlfriend, and pretty forcibly so. And it doesn't look like he's sort of on board at all. That is until the end of the episode, when he sort of comes around and decides to be a good guy and starts to like Gunpla again. But you know, it's still kind of cheesy and awesome, but in a good way. That's really the way this entire series is. Every single time I watch an episode, I feel really good after watching it. Just, it's a fun series, and if you're a fan of Gundam, you're gonna love all of the cool action, and just the action itself, you know, I think it really stood on its own this week. It was really exciting and explosive and awesome, just so cool. I love the Sengoku Astray and just its actual design in general. I kind of wish there was a whole series based around like Samurai Gundam. Maybe there's like a spin-off manga that I've never heard of, or maybe there's some weird novel somewhere, but that's either here or there. All I know is it's sort of like a dream of mine, and considering how creative this Gundam Build Fighters series has actually been, I'm really curious to see what the future is for this series, because they're just going to go crazy with it. So, awesome episode. I loved it. I have no complaints with it, and when I have no complaints, I give it a 10 out of 10. So, if you're following the series, definitely check this one out. It's definitely worth your time. If you guys had a chance to check out this week's episode of Gundam Build Fighters, it's time to let me know what you thought about it with your comments below. How did you feel about that awesome samurai battle with the Star Build Strike? Remember guys, before you leave, hit that like button, give this video a thumbs up. It is definitely one of the best ways to support our videos, and it's pretty damn easy too, so give it a shot. And you can check out some of the other videos we are working on. In fact, you can check out my latest review on episode 7 of Space Dandy. I'll put a link to that in the description box below. So guys, I'll see you next time. Super Kami Guru 9000, out.